All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the February Hurlbut WIS PTO meeting. We have Superintendent Barbiero with us today, and also Dan DiVito, who's our head of technology, who will be showing us the new website. At first, we're going to go a little out of order this morning because everyone has different meetings to get to, and I'm going to let Mrs. Falber jump in and speak first.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I have another meeting, but thank you for letting me jump in. I think the first thing I have to say is I am amazed and so appreciative of all that you do. The dance on Friday night was, and I know you're probably going to talk about it later on, but it was unbelievable. From the setup to everything that took place, to the kids had such a great time. I think parents did too, to everybody helping and jumping in and cleaning up. So it wasn't all that bad at the end of the night. Still a lot, but it was fun. But it was an amazing event, and I hope it's something that we'll continue to do because it was great. But it couldn't happen without all of you, and so I am so appreciative of everything that you do. So this week, we are continuing with our kindness theme. We have our kindness week. Today's theme is kindness ties us together. I wanted to make sure I got that correctly. So everybody's wearing some sort of bow in their hair. I have mine on my sweater, so that we can celebrate kindness. Tomorrow we have our author's visit. So we're really excited about that. She will be presenting to each of the grade levels at an individual assembly, and then she'll be working with some of the students in a creative writing session. Some of the students who have asked to do that. So she'll be doing that tomorrow afternoon. So we're very excited about this author coming in. And then on Friday we end the week before vacation with pajama day, which is fun. Everyone will probably wear pajamas but me, but I sort of draw the line on pajamas, but it'll be fun. It's been really a nice week before heading out to vacation. When we get back from vacation, it's going to be March, which is hard to believe. So our teachers will start gearing up to sort of the end of that second trimester, if you can believe, and then getting ready for parent-teacher conferences, which will be coming in the middle of March. I think those are our big updates, I think, at this point. If you have any questions, please always know that I'm here, and email me, call me. And I know we're all looking forward to vacation. Maybe we'll get some snow. Maybe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Falber.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to jump up here. And Dan, our agenda is our special guests. Then we'll have Mrs. Cadis do her principal report. Then the presidents will do their reports, executive reports, and then we'll get out of here. Dan, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you can share your screen.
Thank you.
And everyone, if you don't know Dan, he is our head of technology and ran all of the, the learning online for us. So he is the mastermind behind what we see in technology. So he's going to present the new website.
Thank you very much. I won't take up your time. I just wanted to let everyone know that the week of February 27th, we will be going live with our brand new Weston Public Schools website after a lot of feedback on our current website, which is difficult to navigate, troublesome, very slow, and generally just a pain. We started the process back in August of moving to a new website provider, and we are just putting the finishing touches on the new website to make it much more clean and easy to navigate. So I just wanted to let everyone know about that. And part of that going live is if you happen to have any section of our website bookmarked on your phone or tablet or on your computer, those links may change once we go live with the new website. So after the 27th, if you try to go to a bookmark, you may get a page not found. For instance, if you have Hurlbut's main page bookmarked, that link is going to change on the 27th. So I just kind of wanted to get that out there for everyone to know. Just change your bookmarks. and I'm going to do a sneak peek on the website. And this is based on really feedback we've gotten from parents, from residents, from staff, even from students, really just saying the current website is terrible, which it is, and how can we make it nicer? So this is our new website. So this is the main page. We have our Instagram feed. Superintendent Barbiero is phenomenal with updating Instagram, and so are all of the respective schools. And we have these main 6 bullet points. These are like the most hit sections of our webpage, like the lunch menus, the district calendar, the budget, and who do I contact for with our news. Lisa's incredible podcast, which if you haven't listened to, I would definitely say take 15-20 minutes out of your time to listen to some of the episodes. What's up in the Weston Public Schools. Lisa is a phenomenal interviewer, so I would just highly recommend to listen when you can, along with our district calendar, our social media, and our YouTube page. And all the way up top, you have our schools. They all look very similar. So if we go to Hurlbut, it's the same thing. It's Hurlbut's great Instagram page, their latest news, and their calendar, all their contact information. Most of the information has been brought over. We just tried to remove some of the older information that we had that was from 2011 that had no purpose and really nobody needed to see because it's so outdated. So we are always looking for feedback on the webpage. So I will be sending out an email, a swift reach email, beginning of next week with more information on the website and a contact email. And you can always email me directly at daniel.devito@westonps.org. If you have any feedback, but we always love feedback on the website to see how can we better communicate with all of you. So the more feedback I get, the better. I know that there was a question. The school calendar link, the Google Calendar itself will not change. So the question was, do you know if the school calendar link will change? And the link itself will not change if it's directly to the Google Calendar. But if you have that bookmarked. But if you were going to like the events page of the current website, that link will change. So you're going to want to rebookmark that. Another question, when is it going live? We're looking to go live on Monday, February 27th. I can't do an exact time frame because I have to work with our internet service providers, but most likely in the morning of Monday, February 27th.
That's awesome. It looks great, Dan. It really does. It makes us want to jump ahead and get our PTO one all fixed up because that's time. You're kicking us now to get it done. So thank you.
No problem.
All right. If you have any other questions, I can put Dan's email in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in there right now.
Awesome. And you can always reach out to any of the presidents for more information. And Lisa, I'm gonna pull, thanks, Dan. Lisa, I'm going to pull up your presentation now. And let me get this going correctly here. There we go. All right. Lisa, the floor is yours. Lisa, can you hear us? Hey, Stephanie, can you
yeah, I'm on it.
Okay, awesome. All right. So while Lisa's getting her computer and stuff to work, let's jump into Mrs. Cadis and have her present. 1 second. Let me just jump off this way fast. Oops. There we go. All right, Mrs. Cadis.
Thanks, Maria. Good morning, everyone. So many exciting things happening at Hurlbut over the last month and coming up soon. We
celebrated our 100th day of learning together on February 6th. Such a fun day. Those of you who have been at Hurlbut and have Hurlbut students, you know what a milestone day that is for our students when we celebrate all of the learning that we've done together. It is also a milestone number in our math program. So students in kindergarten are learning to count up to 100 and then are also practicing all the different ways to count to 100. So counting by twos, fives, tens, counting backwards. And that day just really helps culminate all the exciting learning that's happening, and also a milestone of the year of how far we've come and how much we've done together. And then, of course, yesterday, Valentine's Day, such a fun day for our friends. Kindness is always a big focus here at Hurlbut. It's part of our motto, be safe, kind, and responsible. And February just gives us the opportunity to highlight it even a little bit more. So that has been a continued theme. A special shout out and thank you to all of our parent volunteers who came and helped yesterday with our celebrations and our crafts. We had over 60 parents in the building helping, which was just wonderful to see. The excitement, the support, and we really appreciate that support. A lot of our parents who came in were helping run craft stations, and you know, with the little ones, it's just really helpful to have all hands on deck for that. So thank you to all of our volunteers. Fabulous to have you all back in the building. We are coming up, as you know, to February break. We'll be off next week. So just a reminder, we hope reading has become a part of your daily life as a family. Vacation time's a great opportunity to catch up on some reading. If you're traveling, reading about where you're going together as a family really does help support our students in their literacy development. Also ongoing, continued at Hurlbut is our registration for our incoming kindergarten class for next year. We kicked that off at the end of January, and we have quite a few families already registered. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that registration. You can get to the registration on our website. If you go to the Hurlbut page, click on school information, and then new student registration, you can get your registration started. Families often ask, do they have to do it all at once? No, you can go in, start your registration. If you need to then go back and add more, you're welcome to do that. But knowing that you're in process really does help us for planning for next year. And of course, our fabulous Mrs. Eagle is always here to help and support with any registration questions. Parent conferences will be coming up very quickly when we get back from February break. They are the week of March 13th for Hurlbut and WIS. So if you have not received sign-up information yet, those will be going out right after vacation. We're looking forward to sharing all of the progress our students have made and the goals for our students for the remainder of the school year. As all of you know too, it's been an interesting winter weather-wise, so we do recommend you send your child to school in layers. There can be some variability in temperatures within the building, and then of course, during the school day. You know, we started off in the 30s this morning. By the end of the day, we're going to be maybe hitting 60. So it's really helpful for our students to have, you know, just a variety of, you know, maybe short sleeves with then a sweater, and then of course a jacket if it's chilly. Please remember to label all the items. We have a very busy lost and found. So if things are labeled, you were able to very easily facilitate it and get it back to your child. Water bottles, jackets, sweaters, sweatshirts, and you know, we're able to get those back within the same day or a day or two if they're labeled. And finally, coming up over the next few months, we are planning for writing celebrations to celebrate the end of genres in our writing curriculum for kindergarten, first and second grade. And we will be inviting all of our families into the classroom later this spring to read their child's writing, celebrate, and learn about all the writing that's been happening in the classrooms. The writing has really exploded in the building, and the children are writing amazing books, fiction and nonfiction, telling wonderful stories, and we're excited to share that with all of you. So those will be in-class celebrations where all the families in the class are invited in. So stay tuned for those dates. We're finalizing them now, and we'll be getting those out to families after February break. All right, thank you for all the time. I know that was a lot. There's a lot happening.
That's great. Thank you, Mrs. Cadis. Okay, Lisa. Make sure that I can.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm sitting back. I fell at the middle school yesterday, so I'm kind of trying to recline and ice my foot. Yeah, right before vacation. Great timing, Lisa. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about the budget. I appreciate that. Just a second. Sorry, I've been having some difficulties. I had the wrong link first for the meeting and everything else. Is the presentation loading? Is that what's happening?
Can everyone
Yes,
see?
it says
it?
loading.
Okay,
it
I'll
does.
wait. I will wait
now.
until, okay. All right, there we are.
Do it this way.
Can we go to the first slide of the presentation,
you.
please? Thank you. Okay, I'll just say next slide and just give me, if you could just give me 1 minute, please. I had another technical difficulty here. If you could just bear with me, sorry. Always something. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is this in, I don't think this is in slide. Maria, I
Lisa-
can't hear you.
Lisa, when I put it in slide, it disappears for everyone. It just loads. So I'm gonna make it bigger for you, but I can't actually.
Okay,
put it in
that's fine.
slide.
I mean, it's fine. I just didn't know. No worries. Okay. Okay, so thank you again for giving me the opportunity. I have one more PTO after this, and I have gone to all of the buildings. I have to present at the middle school. And then what Dr. Hinkle and I are trying to do is when we present at the faculty meetings, then we follow up the next day or 2 days later, where we spend lunch time over there and visit all the different teams in the departments and see if anybody has any questions. So I appreciate, as I said, the opportunity to, I feel like I'm doing a road show. You know, on Saturday I was at the Kiwanis, and now it's your turn with the joint PTOs. So, somos una familia. I absolutely love this slide. It's the first slide that I like to put out there, because to me, that when you look at the budget and you look at the dollars behind the budget, it's about children. It's about the people that work with the children. That is the strength of this district. That's the strength I see it. You know, yes, we are a Durgay district. How do we differ from where I grew up in Darien, where one of my daughters went to high school, and here, or Westport or Wilton or here, is simply the size of the district. And because of the size of the district, given the size and then the class sizes that we have, we really know our kids. And that I think is the strength. You know, when Sharon Wynn sends her children over there and wants to give, for example, some feedback to Meredith Buckley, the English teacher. I guess it would be Brian, right? Because Brian does the English in that group. You just pick up the phone. You know, there's only 2 people that you have to talk to over there. Whereas, you know, Darien feeds 5 elementary schools into 1 middle school. This is the strength. It's the people in the district. And I absolutely find that to be the best part of my job, going around visiting classrooms and working with the staff and students. Next slide. So these are the commitments that I talk about, and I tell the town that when I presented to the selectmen, and I'll be presenting to the Board of Finance, these are the 3 commitments we share. Weston is the schools. Okay, the schools are Weston. There's pretty much nothing else here. And when you look at what we want to do, is we want every student to have an excellent learning experience, to be able to pursue their goals, and to ensure that all the graduates have the requisite skills and attitudes to be successful. Notice we're talking about skills and attitudes, and that's very different, for example, than when I went to school. I won't say we went to school, because I think I'm a generation or so ahead of you. Next slide. And what I mean by that is, next slide. When we look at our mission, when you think about the kindergarten class of 22-23, right? This kindergarten class is going to graduate high school in 2036. And so it's not about knowing a bunch of facts and information now. It's about learning skills, problem solving skills, creativity, being able to communicate effectively, being able to analyze and synthesize text. All of that is really what we are preparing our children for. We don't even know what jobs we're preparing them for, but we know that they are going to achieve success and be able to contribute to a global society when they leave Weston. And how do we know? I've been here a long time, 30, I think this is 38. When I see Weston graduates in the line of pickup, a guy pulls up and starts saying, "Buenos dias, hola," and I'm looking, is that Jorge Bermudez, who I taught Spanish to? Now his children are in Laura's school. They come back and they show how successful they are, whether they move back to Weston or they just share their experiences through Facebook and LinkedIn and different social medias. We see, and it makes me so very proud. Next slide. We are a system, and that's important. You know, the schools are absolutely beautiful. And one of the things that I keep trying to explain is that we are not a system of schools, but we are a school system. And a school system means that there are going to be needs in different schools or across elementary, across secondary. And my job as superintendent is to make those decisions through a collaborative process. Sometimes it isn't consensus building, and I have to say, nope, this is the decision we're making for the good of the district, the entire district. Next slide. And so our vertical alignment is really important. On Monday, it was a 3-hour meeting. So if you didn't watch it, you can skim through it at the Board of Ed, very long meeting, but it was an important meeting because we talked about our mid-year progress report, K-12. We have very specific goals that are linked to our vision, our mission, the beliefs that we have. And then we, prioritize those goals. And we have to look at through the lens of the whole idea of academic return on investment. We're asking for, over $56 million. And how can we, with the resources we have, because where Weston differs from a lot of the Durgases, there's no commercial property base. So every dollar counts. And are we maximizing that funding to the best of our ability? Next slide. So, 58 million, I was saying, I think 56. 58 million is the operating budget. It's an increase of almost 1.7 million. That's a 2.94 increase overall for the taxpayers. Next slide. When you compare it, though, to the Durgay comparison, and this is as of 2/10, because I met with the superintendents. Wilton's has come down a little. Darien came down from where they started. New Canaan came down from where they started. We are at 2.94. I am really proud of that number. When you look at that number, 76% of it are the people and the people that work with your children. That's really what the budget supports. Next slide. So again, I take very seriously my fiduciary responsibility. And so when we look at, return on investment, these aren't products, they're children. And so we have to look at it of how can we maximize student growth and achievement given available resources. There's a finite number, right, that we have to be able to use. And we have to be able to make decisions. And I keep going back to the triangle. We have to triangulate the data. We have to analyze multiple sources of data to evaluate academic programming and why we choose to do certain things with our funds. So what does that mean? How does that translate into action? When we want something, is there a cost-effective way to get the same result? And when we want something, is it we want it, we need, or we need it? And how does it align with our mission? Next slide. So here are some examples. You'll see at the high school, and for years, I've done the staffing at the high school. I began in 2002, that was my job. You will see for years, you'll have Mandarin 3 and 3 honors combined. You'll have studio art and AP studio combined. You'll have photo 2 and advanced combined. You'll be able to take pre-engineering at the standard level and the honors in the same class. Okay, that is a big savings. And someone might say, well, if we have, 10 kids in Mandarin 4 honors and we have 4 kids in Mandarin 4, that's 14. It's class guidelines are 15. Why are we even offering it? There have been people that have said that. Why are we even offering this program? When children make a commitment, they need to have the top level of the language when they are applying to colleges, competitive colleges. We're not going to say We're going to do everything we can to get that top level in. And that's Mandarin 4 for honors. So the way we do it is we combine and differentiate within the class. Same thing with Project Lead the Way. Someone that wants pre-engineering, but perhaps the honors level is a bit more challenging. We should be able to, in a class of 18 students, differentiate and offer the standard level college prep. We also run courses every other year. For example, AP Music Theory didn't run this year. It's running next year. Multivariable calculus hasn't been run in 2 years. If we need it, we will figure out a way how to run it. And then when we look at specifically at Hurlbut and WIS, I feel very strongly we need another security specialist for those buildings. And so how could we mitigate the cost? When we look at some of the instructional para duties and what they are involved in before and after school with duties and during lunch and recess, we could mitigate that cost by hiring a full-time security specialist. Yes, we lose a para. We lose a piece of a para in each building. And that's where I make the tough decision of saying, we need the security. It was a big mistake to get rid of the 2 security guards at the elementary level. It was a mistake, and we're not going back with that. Next slide. So when you look specifically here at what drives the budget, these are the things that drive a budget. Everyone knows, you know, if you've worked in business, different aspects of organizations, you know, this is it. Utilities, salaries, benefits, enrollments, special ed, curriculum and instruction initiatives. All of that drives the budget. And it's something that we have to be very cognizant of because there's not much less. Next slide. Utilities is probably the most boring thing on here, but everybody knows the cost of utilities is going up. We have a contract, it expires in November. It involves supply and delivery. We have to keep the lights on. As much of an effort as our elementary students do at Hurlbut, turn off the lights, every light switch, turn it off, you know, keep it, you know, don't waste electricity. I don't think we're going to make up the 39% difference, and we have to keep the lights on. So that's kind of a given. Next slide. This is kind of another way to sort of look at the breakdown. Salaries and benefits are the blue and the orange. That's 76%. Next slide. This year, I had the privilege of negotiating all 3 contracts for our unions, which that was the first for me. First of all, sitting on the other side of the table and then having to do all 3 in the first, you know, in 1 year. So these are contractual obligations. We have to do them. I mean, you know, you have to pay people for the contract. You have to provide benefits. We were successful in moving our unions, as well as, you know, that also includes everybody at central office, to a high deductible health insurance plan. But that also comes with some negotiations. We haven't had that in a while. And so what was negotiated was percentages the board would pay. That though resulted in a savings, and hopefully that savings will increase over multiple years. We are currently in the AFSCME, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees negotiation. Basically, we're negotiating with the custodians, the maintenance, the security, the paras, the nurses, the secretaries, all of those. And that's taking place right now. So these are, as I said, contractual obligations that we have to pay them. Next slide. So that's 76% of the budget. Now this is where it gets fun. When you look at staffing, which is 76% of the budget, and you say, okay, how is staffing determined? It is not as simple as plugging in numbers, dividing by the ratios of, okay, kindergarten is 18 to 20, first grade, 18 to 20, high school, you know, we don't like to run things less than 15. And I've already kind of explained sometimes why we do that. You know, grades 2 through 8, 20 to 24. What does that mean though? And how does it affect academic programming? And that's another key piece that has to be looked at. Next slide. So when you look at this, you will see that overall, the district has gone down 23 students. 23 students across 14 grade levels. So it is not a huge decline. We are not sinking down in enrollment. All right. We are holding steady. When you look at where this is happening, that's the key. And it's not just at the grade levels, but it's putting in the ratios and looking at the tipping points of those grade levels. So for example, you might see at grade 9, there are 16 students less in grade 9. You say, okay, well, is there some savings there? There is some savings in pure grade 9 courses. Over 70% of our courses at the high school are not one grade level. They're mixed grade levels. You go to Spanish 3, there's 4 grade levels in Spanish 3. However, there's a savings in a piece of English, a piece of world studies, a piece of a math, a piece of biology that amount to the savings of one teacher, but it's taken in pieces across the school. That's the way that would work. If you look at grade 6 and you say, well, there's 25 kids less in grade 6, so we're not going to have 8 sections, we're going to go to 7. No, we're not. Because, and I have some data to support that, if you go to the 7, it gets very tricky. It totally disrupts the team structure at the middle school. And when you project it out 10 years, looking at the mid-year projections, there are 3 years where a section is a little bit below that grade level requirement. For those 3 years, do we want to disrupt the entire program at the middle school and go back to more of a junior high model where teachers are teaching off grade level and are not available for team meetings and for planning? We're not doing that. We're making too many academic strides there to do that. But let's look specifically at what's going on at the intermediate school and the Hurlbut. Next slide. So again, this is the illustration, right? All the blue is the staff. The other costs are very little. Next slide. Let's look at grade 4, because there is a perception that, you know, a perspective that grade 4 could be reduced. Grade 4 has 166 students. That is the projection. If you have 8 sections, you are at an efficiency value of 86.4. There are 24 open seats in grade 4 for next year. So from now until the beginning of September, perhaps 24 students will move in. We have enough space for them. Highly unlikely you're going to get 24 more students. However, look what happens when you reduce the section. Now we're at 24 students in 5 of the sections. That's the cap. We are at a higher efficiency value of 98.8%. We only have 2 open seats. Patty, what do you think could happen, Ms. Falber, over the summer or even starting now in grade 4? Patty, are you there?
She's in a meeting. She popped up.
I'll answer the question. Well, Laura, can you answer the question? Let's say it was 2nd grade. What would you think would happen if there's only 2 open spots?
We always have students that move in throughout the year, and then you're already starting off at a pressure point. That's a lot of students to have with one classroom teacher. And remember, at the elementary level, our classroom teachers teach all the content areas in addition to supporting the social and emotional needs of our students and maintaining a high level of communication with our families. So an additional 2-3 students in a classroom does make a big difference. I would be very uncomfortable starting with numbers that high.
Exactly. And so, but then you say, well, you know what, let's wait. We'll see what happens over the summer. Because in Westport's policy, it says that 3 weeks before, if they're at a tipping point, they hire someone. I don't want to hire teachers 2 weeks before school starts, because I know that that will not be the highest quality teacher that I want in front of our children.
I can speak to that too, Lisa, if you
Go ahead.
been there, done that. I've been an elementary principal for over 20 years. So they, you know, when we're scrambling with weeks before school's opening and all of the preparation that goes into opening up an elementary classroom, and you're trying to hire, you're now reworking classes, all the communication, the transition planning we did ahead of the year. is now in some case irrelevant because we have to change classes, we have to move students. We have to then inform teachers and support systems that were in place for those classes. We're also then looking at hiring late in August. We're looking at a limited pool of applicants. A lot of districts like to hire in April and get things set up because of all that goes into an elementary classroom. So when you're doing it late, it creates a lot of unnecessary challenges in addition to, disrupting what's already been planned for many, many months. We begin our transition planning now. We're already working on it for next year for our classes as they move up. So I would not recommend it. I think that puts us at a disadvantage and creates unnecessary stress for the students and the families.
So thank you for sort of talking at it, boots on the ground. It's a concern. And also, okay, it's the summer. Well, let's have them do a demonstration lesson in front of kids. Where are we getting the kids? We had that at the high school where I had to bring custodians in to learn how to speak French because I had to see them in front of someone. I mean, we really need to be planful and strategic with this. And I don't mean to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but there is a perspective that grade 3 and grade 4, it's about the same numbers. We don't need that cost. It's about $148,000 for a teacher, including benefits, roughly with the years of experience we're seeing. So that's $300,000, $300,000 for, these children to have the best possible experience in grade 3 and grade 4 out of it for a $58 million budget. That is my recommendation. And that is what I proposed. And that's what I want to stick to. It's too important. You get one chance in 3rd grade, you get one chance in kindergarten, one chance junior year. We got to do the very best we can by our children. Next slide. Okay, so there's beautiful Hurlbut. That picture at the bottom, it's a mistake, but it's Gentiana Jama with the preschool. It's kind of funny. She's walking a pineapple. Next slide. So Hurlbut. These are the things that are specifically for Hurlbut. We are asking for 3 assistant directors of PPS special education. And we have strategically put them, the ones for the pre-K-8 program, to span over a school because of the transition. So we are asking for the support of the assistant director, who is Patty Morrow. Next year, we'll be doing pre-K3. That's very strategic because of the transition. And then we're looking for someone for 8. And then we're looking someone solely for the high school to manage that big transition to 9th grade, as well as post-secondary options. Healthy learning environment. We're still obviously supporting all of these incredible programs, the PPIS, as it translates into the honeycombs and everything else. We want to maintain the social worker, the school psychologist. We support this security specialist floater. I was asked by someone on the Board of Selectmen, like, why are you asking for this? And I said, well, it started anecdotally. I remember when we started with security guards way back when, and I'm going way back, 2002. And then we upgraded all of our security specialists to really higher level qualified people. I think everyone but one is a former police officer. And we had 2 at the elementary, 2 at the middle. We had 3 at the high school. We had 2 at the middle school. And the decision was made to take away the 2, which I don't believe is the right decision. When I walk into buildings, every time I'd walk into a building, I'd see somebody else sitting at the desk or being there. Because the reality is that Stu Mendelson and Jimmy Fisher need a break. So they need to eat lunch. Where do these people come from? Well, we'll send PJ Mickle down from the high school to let Stu have a lunch and to have Jimmy have a lunch. And so we will take away from the high school during their lunch a security guard, and we have a situation, we have open campus at the high school. Okay, that has to happen every day. Somebody's out, it gets worse, because then you have to take someone from the middle school to fill in for that person. I did an attendance audit. The pool is so small that 45% of the 180 days our children are in school, we are down 1 security guard. People have the right to take a day off if they're sick, if they have COVID, if they have bereavement, if they have a personal day. but the pool is so small that that's the unintended consequence. So I'm going on and on about it, but in the words of Jimmy Fisher, Lisa, I want that floater out there on those playgrounds, walking around, because they look at things from a very different eye than our paras and teachers do. They look at it through a security eye. We're excited about replacing the iPads, the Chromebooks at Hurlbut. We are increasing the number of smart displays. We need new ones to make sure that they all work and function properly. And all the wireless infrastructure continually needs updating. Next slide. And again, we're supporting the 22 sections, 4 sections of preschool, all of the materials, the supplies, the new reading program, the math efforts, all of that funding. But remember, that's just a little piece of the budget. But it is very important that we have all of those resources. Next slide. Now we're going up School Road to the intermediate school. Next slide. So the intermediate school, I've talked about, we need those 2 sections. We also need some pieces of special subjects. They need music, they need art, they need Spanish. We are supporting the both at Hurlbut and WIS the idea of full-time math CILs to coach the teachers in their building. We need interventionists in both math and reading. But just to really emphasize these CILs or coaches, you know, doing something, being half-time limits your time and your ability to work with your teachers. And as Laura said, all of the teachers teach math and science except for 5th grade. They teach language arts except for 5th grade. I don't think it's physically possible, given, well, you got to do an intervention schedule, and then you got to run around and get to all of these teachers and work on helping them with the new material, supporting, pushing in, giving them strategies. That is a lot of work. Analyzing data, a lot of work. And that's why we're asking for these curriculum instructional leaders to be full-time. Next slide. And then it's pretty much the same thing as Hurlbut. Although they aren't getting Chromebooks and iPads, they are getting the smart displays and supporting all of the wonderful stipends that you see in the budget for the intermediate school. Next slide. This is the capital budget. The capital budget is controlled by the town. We asked for $800,000. The highlight is the South House bathroom renovations for Hurlbut. And the Hurlbut teachers cheered when I told them about that this was put in the budget, because they were very excited about it. Nothing is there for WIS because, frankly, again, this is prioritized needs, and WIS is clearly the newest building. Next slide. So where are we in the process? The big next step is the Board of Finance review of our budget request on March 8th. So the selectmen certainly can recommend something to the budget. The Board of Finance has the ability to cut. So the Board of Finance can say, we want you to cut $500,000. We want you to cut $300,000. Coincidentally, the cost of those 2 teachers. The board, however, of finance cannot tell where we will cut. You know, they say that's your job, superintendent, and that is my job. However, when a cut is made, and that's my job also to explain, when there are cuts at this point, 2.94, we are talking about staffing that work with children. We have analyzed every position. There are positions that support teaching and learning, and then there are people that are actually doing the work. There's no more room to cut. I was talking, I forget which meeting, where I said, you know, back in 1985, we had one superintendent who hired me. He was also the HR director. He was the assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction and technology. He did it all. Where we are, you know, someone said, well, can't the assistant superintendent do technology? No. We made that change years ago. When the assistant superintendent was in charge of technology, the big accomplishment was getting the internet into the schools. Look where we are now with Dan DiVito and all of the multi-layers of software and hardware and digital learning that has to be tended to, and communications and systems. No, can't be done. I cannot be the HR director. I can't. You know, I cannot manage the 300 plus employees that we have for their FMLAs, their questions about certification, the entire process of that onboarding, hiring. It's not an effective use there. So I guess what I'm saying is we really need support for this budget, because I do not, it's going to hurt if we have to cut, and it's going to hurt children. The rest of the list is on here. There's a public hearing on March 28th. For those of you not familiar, that's where you can stand up and say, I am in support of this, and this is why. And then it goes on to the ATBM and the budget referendum. Next slide. This year especially, I feel like I'm really getting in the groove here. We have put so many resources on our old website, and when we transfer to the new website, we'll make sure they're all there with the correct links. There is a big budget button, and when you click on that budget button right in the center, you will see not only past budgets, but we've started another section that has all of these supplemental documents. You want to learn more about where the medium projections are for the next 10 years, translated into sections in our schools? There's a document. You have a question to say, you know, with this projected enrollment for 2024, how accurate is that projection? I went back and looked at 6, 7 budgets to see what they said about this year. We're pretty accurate. So what did they say in 2017 and 2018 about this year? What are the ebbs and flows? What about the grants? What about the money that we got for COVID? It's all gone. And I heard something like, well, Westport did this. Why didn't we do this? Westport got so much more money than we did. But there is a document that explains all the grants that we still have and how we are mitigating losing the grants that we lost. And we really tried to mitigate that, because I am very conscious of, well, you're not just going to take the, you know, $300,000 and put it in the budget. Can't work that way. So all of that is explained in those documents. If you want to know more about the middle school program, the new academic workshop, there's a document. Stipends, all of that, co-curricular, it's all there. And I really encourage you to look. The other thing there is questions asked by the board. We wrote page after page of answers to the Board of Education on very specific questions that they had, with links to documents. And if you are interested, that's where, frankly, I would start. I'd read the introduction and I would peruse those questions, because it kind of fills in the gaps. So I think I'm being a little bit long-winded, so I'm going to stop. And I appreciate your time and attention, because this is very important, that that our children experience next year the same type of instruction for learning as previous generations of Westonites did. And I thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Everyone, the meeting's being recorded, so you can go back once it's posted into YouTube. You can go back and go through the slides again at your purview and really read them in your time, and also visit the website. There's lots of information on there. I did put the date of the public hearing in the comments, March 28th. And we'll move on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. I'm going to sign off.
All right.
Bye.
Stephanie.
Good morning, everyone. I will be really fast. I guess Lisa just signed off, but Laura, you should hear this. I think on behalf of everyone, like, you guys are fighting so hard for what's best for our kids, and it's just amazing. And I know it's not an easy process to negotiate this budget, but thank you for just prioritizing the educational experience that our kids have in elementary school, from class size to curriculum to support to social emotional learning. It really, really matters. And it's such a relief to hear the leadership, you, Laura, and Lisa, just fighting so hard to make sure, we're not sacrificing a few dollars for the incredible experience that our kids need in these years. So thank you. Okay. Very quickly, we are into our new thematic beautification of the Hurlbut entry circle. This is our amazing February Valentine's Day display that Sarah Baxa put together along with Tyler Constanda, and I just love driving around the loop, and even though our flowers are not blooming, we see these very pretty happy hearts. So thank you to them for doing this. Next slide. Our B-Ball, which everyone has heard a lot about, is going to be happening right after February break. We are sold out. We are putting the finishing touches together. It's going to be an amazing, memorable night. Lisa will be joining us, Laura will be joining us, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. We are still open for family sponsorships. So to the extent that any Hurlbut families for the nominal contribution of $50 would like to become a family sponsor of this great event, we welcome you to do so. Next slide. The circus, we're just putting this out there so everyone has the date. We know that signups for baseball and lacrosse and spring soccer is out there. So please also mark your calendars for Saturday, April 1st. That happens to be April Fool's Day, which was a great coincidence to have a circus. We're going to have 2 show times. So no matter what time your spring sport is, you will be able to attend the circus, but please make sure it's on your calendar. Next slide. The yearbook is open. We are still accepting pictures, and you can purchase your yearbook. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Charlie McDermott. Her email is in the slide, or you can reach out to me. It's going to be a really robust yearbook, and we are excited to showcase all the great things that we've been able to do this year. So please order one. And finally, we are already accepting volunteers and nominations for our board for next year, which is kind of crazy that we're already looking forward to next year. There are a lot of ways to get involved. I speak for Hurlbut and WIS. It's an incredible opportunity to be on the PTO. You make a ton of friends, you have an impact, you kind of have a seat at the table, you get to think about the issues that affect our kids and how to help them have a great elementary school experience. So please reach out to either myself or Maria and find out more about getting involved. No matter what your time commitment is, whether you can only do something remotely or only do something for short term or long term, we can find something for you to do. And to the extent that you know incoming parents who will be in our ELC next year or kindergarten, there's no reason why you need to be in the school for 2 or 3 years before getting involved. You can get involved from the get-go, have a lot of support, and it will be a really rewarding experience. So that's it from Hurlbut this morning. Have a great break, everyone.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, on to WIS. Well, first and foremost, I have to do a massive thank you to the Sweetheart Dance team. Daniela Ackley, Sarah Boxa, Lauren Kill, Livia Ruggiero, and Kate Vivolo absolutely blew this thing out of the park. And every kid enjoyed it. Every parent enjoyed it. We have photos online now that people can purchase. The next set of photos will be coming up for people to download and print. We also want to thank all of the parent volunteers. These events do not happen and aren't successful without your help. So thank you to everyone that, checked people in and passed out food. It was really amazing. The step and, like I just said, the step and repeat photos are available, will be available soon. We're waiting for the girls from the high school to download them. Once that's done, you'll be able to either purchase them or not purchase them, but download them yourself to print. And then the photo booth photos, I sent a link to all of the people who purchased tickets last night. If you didn't get that, just send me an email. It might be in your spam. I think some parents found it there, but you can order those yourself for the photo booth. Reiterating what Stephanie said, join us in this fun of the PTO. We are looking for nominations for WIS. So any outgoing 2nd grade families that want to join us in 3rd grade would be wonderful. You can always contact me. Jen Rubin is running it for WIS. You can ask her questions about time commitments and what you could possibly do to help. So anyway, that's for that. The yearbook is ready to be ordered. We have a very short deadline for WIS this year. For the yearbooks must be purchased by April 10th. I don't know, and I'll follow up with Debbie, if you can purchase yearbooks afterwards. We're using a new company this year. So spread the word. We'll make sure this goes out to all the room parents for parents to know that the deadline is April 10th. Personalization is March 1st, upload photos by April 1st, and purchase ads by April 1st. And the ads can really be purchased by anyone in any grade. So you can look at that on that website. We're also doing our cover contest. Those need to be in by February 25th. And the winning student will win a $25 Amazon gift card, and all the other entries will be inside of the yearbook for everyone to see. We do have our author visit tomorrow, which we're really excited about. We purchased 60 copies of the Farrow Rocks 5th grade, and they were delivered yesterday. So all of the students will be able to see them ahead of the author visit. The winter coat drive, we have one more day for that. It ends tomorrow. So if you have any coats that you want to bring in tomorrow, please do so. The bins are at the front next to Mr. Stu. And we are here, guys. The planning for Memorial Day Fair has begun. We've had 3 meetings so far. An outstanding team led by Debbie Melkonian for sure. And if you were want to get involved and help in any way, you can reach out to Debbie, or if you want to just reach out to me or Stephanie and Debbie, we can send her an email as well. And our first save the date outdoor movie, April 29th. Put that on your calendar. It will be at 5 p.m. They have a very new fancy screen that doesn't need to be played in the dark. So we can start early. We're going to have food trucks. It's going to be a great night. Any family that purchased a ticket last year to the one that was unfortunately canceled, they will automatically get a ticket for this one. So I'll make sure we're reaching out to everyone in March for that. But save the date. If you'd like to help with that, please send me an email, and you can help me in planning the event. I'm excited. We're going to have the kids vote on what movie will be played. So all of this will be coming out soon, but we're getting there. All right, so we have our Board of Ed update.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm going to go through this quickly because most of this was already stated by the principals or the superintendent, but from the recent Board of Ed meeting, which Lisa had mentioned was 3 hours long. So there was a lot to cover. The first thing was the retirement of the Hurlbut health and PE teacher, Lois Miller. That's coming up. And then the head of human resources, Terry Kavanaugh, resigned. And that position has actually, I saw, was posted. So there, if you know anyone, let them know that that's open. Tracy Edwards, for the SPED update, explained that we have hired for a few positions that were open, but there are a few more, and they're continuing to interview. Also, the school climate plans have been updated on individual school websites. So if you go on to Hurlbut or WIS, you can see those, and that goes over how the schools, what the policies are and what the schools are doing to make sure that children in the buildings are both physically and emotionally safe, talking about bullying and things like that. The ELC lottery is closed. All interested families were accepted, which is excellent. And that going forward, if families do express interest, they should still try to sign up, but they'll be put on a wait list. But seats may open up. So definitely get on the wait list if you know somebody that's interested. Dan DiVito went open. That there is the new website. So make sure you update your links. Next one. All right, this was the bulk of the meeting, and the link to all of this, the bulk of the meeting on Monday went over how the winter progress towards the continued success and improvement, and specifically they went over program updates and academic updates. I went through the document and just took out anything, all the data points that were related to Hurlbut and WIS. So you can go through all of those data points in the link that's going to be in the Whistle and the Buzz coming out Friday. Just high level is that in every single area, both math and ELA for both Hurlbut and WIS, we're on track to meeting and almost in all areas exceeding the academic goals set out, which is great. And it's going to set up the students to be in a really, really strong place as they enter next year. And then, yep, that was it. And then next up, thank you. We just heard a lot about the budget. So I'm going to skip over that. But for open choice, this is a program where Weston is able to have students from underserved and urban communities, specifically, typically that was Bridgeport, have spots at Weston School District. And now next year, we're really excited that there's going to be 3 openings at Hurlbut for Norwalk students, which is great because it's closer. And so in terms of transportation, it's going to be easier for those students. And then the update on the committee reports, the Educational Optimization Committee went over that they had a meeting with an industrial designer, and that next month at the Board of Ed meeting, there's going to be a presentation on student-centered design within buildings. The Finance Operations Committee just named for us, this is a long way off, that school buses will need to be electric by 2035. But there will need to be some extensive financial planning for that. And we already know all about the budget, but that Weston's budget increase projection is the lowest in the immediate area. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. And Edith for secretary report for the minutes.
Hi. You know what? I was not here, and I really appreciate Shannon for covering for me last month. So basically, we had Jason Kim talk about digital security, talking about how we can protect our kids and educate them about the benefits and also the risks of online activity and social media. And then there was also talk about all the things that we're talking about, like the coat drive, community building events. Sorry, I'm scrolling. And we had the philanthropy report, which we talked about the 3D printers, a new A-frame for the school outside. And we talked about the budget, which we've now talked about again. So can I get a first for approval? If there's no questions about Hurlbut last month?
First, I see Jenny Plant's hand up, and I'll second Edith.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Thanks, Edith. And Shannon.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, I just would we had again, Jason Kim speak, which was so informative and wonderful. As far as WIS is concerned, we had our philanthropy report. We accepted and voted on the author visit and approved that. We had lots of exciting events coming up. We had the Family Fun Skating Night, the Sweetheart Dance, which just happened last Friday, and other great information. So I would like to make a motion to approve those minutes from January 25th. May I get a first?
Maria first.
Thank you, Maria.
Stephanie second.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right, thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
And Jenny, there's a friendly request for Hurlbut.
Yes, this month we have a request which is from ourselves to ourselves, because we would like to get a tent. We're going to use it when we have outside events. So when we do things like we have our swag table, or at the start of the year we're handing out popsicles to the kids, we need a tent. We need some shade and we need some shelter from the rain. So Alex, our VP, has done some research, and we think we can get one for hopefully less than 250, but it'll be, you know, one of those tents you see at farmers markets, those types of tents. So does anybody have any questions about that? No, in which case, could I have someone to first that request, please?
Hey, Jenny, it's Ellen. I first it.
Thank you. And a second?
Brittany second.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. It's a great idea. Treasury report, Michelle.
Michelle is actually unable to join us this morning, so I am going to quickly give the treasurer report. Just keep in mind, I'm not a treasurer. So as of February 14, 2023, our cash balance from our operating expenses was $38,192.89. And our philanthropy cash balance was $80,675.93. In our operating account, our notable income has come from additional b-ball tickets, and those sales are totaling about $1,900. And otherwise, our operating expenses included a deposit for the caterer, Marcia Selden Catering, which was $2,500. Our directory reimbursements, $346, and our reimbursements for our PTO board holiday party, which was $116. In philanthropy, we have received income from Amazon Smile. You might have heard that that program is phasing out. So it's $110, and we will probably not see any more money from that program. Square One Art was very successful with $2,000, and our interest of a whopping $1.38.
Awesome. Thank you.
And actually there's, well, it doesn't, well, there's this is actually incorrect under income, that that the b-ball tickets will be under philanthropy as a fundraiser, as this is not a fundraiser, just to clarify.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you. Chris is on another call, so I'm going to cover this. Philanthropy, $75,199, less 6,186, and then operating less 1,842. So notable expenses for this period: 5,980 to Demco for the library maker tables, which was great. 905 for printing and distributing the PTO directories. Every school, that is split based on how many directories are for each school. So everyone has a little bit of a different number, but we all split that in the budget. $900 for Christine's Critters for third grade talent on tap. 808 for junior great books. 750 for the DJ and photo booth for the Sweetheart Dance. 714 for Farrah Rocks books for the author visit, which were delivered yesterday. So we have Jen Rubin, who's not on the call today, but she's working with all of our talent on tap for each grade. Each grade chair for the teachers decide what program they're going to use. And Christine's Critters is the one they do for third grade. And then there's a different one they use for fifth grade and fourth grade. So we'll be seeing all of those programs come in the next few months, which is really fun to bring those back. If you have any questions about the budget, you can always reach out to me or Debbie or to Chris. Going forward. Whoo, we're done. That was a good one. So I'm going to stop sharing. Next month, we have the assistant superintendent, Tina Hankel, joining us. And then we'll also have Mrs. DeLuca from WIS joining us as well, about mindset and all the kids and how they can use that in their day-to-day life. So that'll be a really good one to jump in and listen to. Are there any questions for us? We can drop it in the chat. We have a minute. This was a big meeting and it was done in an hour, so that's pretty good.
Maybe I have a quick question. Maybe we can do a show of hands. I know we're probably preaching to the choir, so to speak, but Hurlbut Executive Board had thrown around the idea of doing a kind of like an info Zoom on joining the PTO board, where people could join and hear more about the positions available and what they entail, and just kind of do something a little bit more personal than just putting out a flyer in our buzz. And I haven't talked to Marie about this, but we could, of course, share this with WIS and talk about all the positions. Is this something that you think people would be interested in, or maybe not, as we think about, people's schedules? So maybe a show of hands if you think this is a great idea to have an info session on PTO positions for next year's board. Raise your hand if you think that's a great idea. Well, lots of people don't have their pictures on. Oh,
hands up.
Look at that fancy little hand.
You've got some hands up. The date of the next meeting is March 22nd, Wednesday, March 22nd. Stephanie, I think this is a great idea. We can maybe just do because the positions are so similar for both WIS and Hurlbut. We can do one together. I think that's a great idea.
All right, so stay tuned, everyone.
Okay. Yes, Edith. I can't hear you, honey.
Sorry. So I'm unmuted, right?
Yeah,
I
you
just, I was going to say, yes, a Zoom is I think a really great idea. I also think people really like a face-to-face, and maybe we can come up with a little like basic piece of paper, like what are the executive board positions, and then have like 1 or 2 people standing out front one day, like for dismissal, and just being like, hey, like, I'm Edith, I'm doing this. Like, I don't know, just a thought. But Zoom is a great idea. I think in addition to that, it's kind of nice sometimes when people see like, oh, there's a real person who does this. And like,
We're
they're
not
we're
avatars.
not aliens. We like, we're people.
I think that's great. We could do a face-to-face. Why not?
Just
always
like a few people. It doesn't need to be all of it. Yeah, like a little.
good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's a great idea. Okay, so we'll look at that for March, or actually maybe it has to be the beginning of March, because we need to start putting the slate together and have it approved in April. So we can't do now because we're pushing up against the end here for February. So we'll look at the first week of March, Stephanie, first or second week of March before our exec meetings.
Yeah, we can talk offline.
Okay.
We'll set a date and
That.
everyone
love
know. But I think.
Oh, I
think
love
you-
when people ask questions and we make things happen on these calls. Feels so
Right.
good.
The PTO gets stuff done.
That's
We
right.
have an idea, we make it happen. That's why everyone should join and make stuff happen.
I love it. All right. Are we, anyone else? We're good? Oh, this is fantastic. Thank you everyone so much. Make it a great day and enjoy your break. Enjoy your break. Bye.